Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, where ordinary heroes tell extraordinary stories during unique and never been heard before conversations with your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Hilary's unique listening and way of asking questions results in conversations that aren't usually talked about, so you can create the life that you really want but are afraid you can't really have. We are demonstrating the greatness in the human spirit and creating a world where we all reclaim our birthright of joy, happiness, purpose, and passion. Now, here's your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, and today we have a very special guest. We have Barbra Banner, a psychic, evidential, and trans medium, and you'll find out all about what that is when we welcome Barbra to the studio. Hi, Barbra.
Hello. Nice to see you, Hilary.
Do you want to explain what that is, or do you want now, or do you want to do that later? Because I've never heard those actual terms. Psychic, evidential. Yeah.
Okay. Psychic means I'm psychic, and I can see things that are not in view. Evidential means when you're giving a mediumship reading that you bring them evidence that life and consciousness extends past our physical life, and that our consciousness lives on, and you can have a relationship with him or her. And trance, I offer that as one of my options. It's where I go into an altered state and give a message from one of the people that we've brought forward, and I don't remember what I say. And it's usually very emotional and meaningful. So that's a psychic, evidential, and trance medium.
Okay, so trance medium. I was thinking it was trans, like Trans.
No, that would have been
like,
fine.
All right, whatever.
That's not what it is.
Okay, good. I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, all right, good. So it's trance medium, Tran.
Channeling, trance channeling kind of.
Yes, in a trance. Okay, good. All right. So let's go back to the beginning. Where were you born, and how did you get led to this being a psychic?
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, and I'm still in Los Angeles. I was not one of those, infants in the crib who had orbs flying around on the, the little video cam. Didn't know anything for a long time. The only little tidbits that I got when I was like in middle school, I felt I had some psychic kind of things or intuition. And I didn't know really what to call it. So I told my friends, I think I'm a witch. I can't prove it, but that's, and then I didn't even know what a medium was at that point. But I was so interested in all these paranormal shows and medium shows like, Sylvia Brown. And then I always felt I was a little psychic, but not to anything, not to anything big. And it wasn't until I was like 50 years later that it all happened. It like smacked me in the face and knocked me down. I had so much paranormal stuff going on in the house. Lights were flashing, fans were going on simultaneously, things were flying off the shelf. And there were the orbs in a video that I was filming. So, and one of the lights that was flashing, there was no light bulb in that fan light. So I said, okay, spirit is calling me, and I better answer, because I didn't want to know what hell would be let loose if I didn't. So it started then, all during the pandemic. And
wow.
I decided to take a class in mediumship with Suzanne Giesemann. Very good choice. And even on the first practice, my father came through, and I thought, this is really easy. Uh, later, I did find out through other people who gave me readings that I've been doing it for 1,000 years. So it was sort of like I came and hit the ground running. During this time of the pandemic, I thought I should tell my mother, okay? And I don't know how it's going to affect her because she's 104, and I thought she'd just go right over the edge, which is where she wanted to go, okay, at 100. And I said, Mom, I don't know how to even tell you this, but I'm a medium now and I see Dad and everything. She said, your grandmother used to drag me to fortune tellers and psychics and tea leaf readers. And she said she had it, you know, she had such intuition. People would come to her for her advice. I said, Mom, you're 104. When do you think you were going to tell me? And she wasn't, you know, people didn't talk about it back then.
Yeah.
It's only a couple of centuries that we were burned at the stake for anything like that. So it was very hush hush. And then I realized when I became this medium, and within 7 months, I had hung a shingle because I had a waiting list of people who wanted me to do a practice on, that all of the volunteer positions that I got involved in for the last 35 years were divinely guided so that I could do this. I had 14 years on a crisis hotline for women. I've been at Cedars Sinai emergency room for probably 12 or 13 years. I still do that once a week. And then I did something that was a little unusual. I was on the city's crisis response team. When there was a deceased person on the scene and the police were there, they called in a team to come and help when the family came on the scene. The worst day of their lives. They needed somebody dedicated to them to help them get through that day and to give them resources and just support them, whether they needed a bottle of water or a cookie, whatever they needed, we were there for them. And that was really fascinating, I have to say. And no, I did not get spirits coming through to say, tell Mom, you know, my car keys are in the bottom drawer. I didn't do that, and they wouldn't have let me anyway. So it was very professional. And the training I got through all of these volunteer things was amazing, just in every aspect of grief and trauma. So I was prepared.
Wow. Now, let's go back to, what did you study? Like, what was your real career? Did you have one where you needed to make money?
35 years, I was like a advertising maven. I was working for the top agencies and firms. I had a ball. I thought, this is my purpose in life until I started mediumship. And I don't do that kind of writing anymore. I don't need to sell anybody anything they don't need. So yeah, that's what I was doing. And I had a wonderful career.
So were you the creative?
Yes, I was a copywriter. I also was an art director. You know, I wrote the commercials. I helped cast. I was doing everything in advertising.
Any that we would remember?
Oh God, it was a long time ago. Some stuff for like Max Factor and some wines and, you know, just everything.
Wow.
Airlines, you name it.
So you had studied art or marketing, or what did you study?
I went to art school, Art Center College of Design, which is like the Harvard of design schools. But before that, I was at USC and UCLA and just studying a lot of things with a focus on art. And then I just discovered that I was a good writer and I had said clever little things. So I switched over to a focus on copy.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So back to, when was the when
That
were the
happened
lights
during the
flashing?
pandemic.
So like 2020-ish?
5 years ago. I am a 5-year-old medium.
Wow. But before that, you had been the response team when someone had died. So
Yes,
that's very,
35
very
years.
interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
As a volunteer, like
Right.
when
But it's interesting, right?
uh-huh. People used to say when they found out about the place where I was going with, police scene, they said, "Why are you doing that?" It sounds like, why would anyone? I said, because I can. And that's how I felt, like I was supposed to be there. I could handle it.
Did you get called at all hours of the night? I mean,
You had to sign up for a shift, and
oh,
3 o'clock in the morning and 2 in the morning and 4 a.m. Whenever somebody was passed that needed the police there, that's when we were called out.
so you were at the scene with the body?
Yes, and the coroner and everything. Yeah, it was.
But you were okay with that?
Yeah, well, I grew up in a hospital. My father owned laboratories and medical things. So I'd go in the hospital with him on a Sunday morning and see lots of things.
Okay. All right. All right. Wow. Okay. So after the paranormal, did you think it was weird, or did you go like, oh, finally?
I thought it was funny. I just thought, oh my God. And I knew that I just knew. I said, that's probably my dad, and that's probably your mother who threw her picture off the mantle and broke it. I had nothing to do with that. And I just figured, okay, it's the other side, because we're not doing it.
Wow. All right. And then you took the medium class.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then I became a medium. I mean, I had a website. I had people booking me. You never stop learning as a medium for me. I was always taking classes. I even went to the real Hogwarts in England, which was Arthur Findlay College of Spirituality. Century-old mansion that had wonderful, the best teachers in the world. And it was just an amazing place. It was like a residential program. So I had been there twice. So I never stopped learning.
For how long? Yeah, for how long were you there?
Those were just 1 week sessions. So I did 2 of them with different teachers and mentors. It was fascinating. Met wonderful people as well.
I didn't know there was a real place.
That I believe that is what Hogwarts was modeled after.
Yeah, I had no idea. Interesting. Okay. All right. So what else would you like to tell us? We have plenty of time. Do you want to?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, let me go into what I'm sort of known for, which is humor.
Humor. Okay.
Okay. I've become known mostly for bringing some lightness into readings, which can be so heavy and solemn, and it's always appropriate. I mean, as my daughter says, read the room, Mom. That's not funny. Okay. So I always read the room to know what the tenor is. And when I do my introduction, there's a few little places where somebody usually smiles or chuckles.
So you do group? Are these for group?
No, I like doing one-on-one.
Okay.
I do groups on the side as well, but I really like being able to get into this person that they really want to see. So I do prefer that. I am certified with the organization Helping Parents Heal, which specializes in people who lost a child. And there's just a special place in my heart. I can tell you how I got interested in them, if you'd like to hear. During my sessions, where's my picture? Oh, during my sessions, I do a Q&A. Okay, so people always have questions that they want to know from spirit. If their father's there, they want to get some advice or wisdom or, proof or whatever. So this was very much in the beginning of my career. I had a woman who had lost a 6-year-old son. And in the session, the first question I hijack and say, I don't want to know what the question is. I want you to just telepathically ask your son a question and just say, I'm done. And I'll tell you what he shows me. So she goes, I'm done. And I said, well, your son is showing me he's riding on the back of a giant butterfly in heaven. And he's dive bombing and having the best time. He's doing so well. He's so joyous. And then she starts to tear up. And I said, does that at all relate to the question you asked? And she said, oh my God, yes. She said, I asked him, what are you doing in heaven? Now, here's where it gets interesting. She said, after he passed, he had a younger sister, and I bought a book so that I could explain death and heaven to her, and in a way that she could assimilate it and understand it. And she said, and in the book was a page that showed a little boy riding on the back of a butterfly.
Wow. Oh my God.
So chills all around. And can you imagine how comforted she was knowing that her son was right here putting in her head, ask about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
She asked. And that her son was there when she read the book to his sister. And this was what she needed to see at the time and hear. And I always tell people, spirit is going to give you what you need to know now, not always what you want to know. Okay. Because, someone's going to say, what color were my pajamas last night? I don't care. That's not what we're here for.
And do you remember how the little boy died? I'm just curious.
In the reading that I did for her, I don't remember now. It was like 4 years ago. But yes, I usually, spirit usually shows me what happened to them. So, and I don't remember right now. Yeah. But yes, we go in a reading, you learn a lot of things. And usually they do show you what was happening at the end of their life as well as what was going on during their life. And what's happening on the other side.
Yeah. Wow. All right. What other stories do you have for us?
Oh my goodness. I have very funny spirit guides. Anyway, I had a woman recently, and I said, I don't know what this means. I said, because she had wanted to speak to her uncle. And I said at the end, I said, you know what? He's showing me he's like straddling a rocket going into space, and he's yelling, go faster, go faster. And then he's putting his hand on his butt and slapping it like the back of the rocket and saying, giddy up, like he was riding a horse. I said, do you have any idea what that means? She said, oh, yes, I do. She said, he was a bookie at the racetrack, so he definitely wanted the horses to go fast. So spirit can be so imaginative. They keep their essence. So if they're funny on the other side, when they were here, they're funny there. I had somebody who was very skeptical, and I love people who come and they have good energy. Anyway, she wasn't gonna take any. She was, anybody could say that. Oh, you might have gotten that in the newspaper. Very broad. And I just sort of got out of it early, gave her money back. I just, you know, when someone's skeptical, and she was asking me questions like, what was his nickname when he was 3? We're not like little monkeys who are looking for applause. We're trying to do something sacred. Anyway, and I had her husband. I knew I had him. I knew exactly what he looked like and the actor that he showed me he looked like. Anyway, a few nights later, he comes to me around 3 a.m. I do get visitations in the middle of the night, and I always tell them, if you're going to come and wake me up, it better be good evidence. Okay, don't just say, I see a banana peel. Okay, I don't want to know about that. Anyway, he shows me a half a toasted bagel that's scooped out. Okay, women like to scoop it out and then fill it up with something really fattening. And I tell her, I contact her. She goes, why are you telling me that? That's ridiculous. That doesn't, a scooped out bagel? What does that mean to me? Nothing. So I said, okay. It was my job to just tell you what he showed me. A week later, she gets in touch with me. She goes, you're not going to believe this. She said, I went to my husband who had, passed away. I went to see his family with my daughter. And, she said that her father-in-law said, I invented a product and I have a prototype. Can I show it to you and see if you know what it is? She said, sure. He shows her some contraption. And she says, I don't know what that is. He said, it's a bagel scooper. So they were on the floor crying and laughing and understanding that her husband was still, his consciousness was living on. He had a good sense of humor. And he knew, because they're everywhere, their loved ones are, they can cut their energy. He was with her, and he's with his parents all the time as well, and he knew exactly what they were up to. So that one was one of my, oh my gosh, moments, okay? Because that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
And not so many. I have a.
Can I just tell you something? Because I had a reading with Barbra. Was it a couple weeks ago? Yeah. And we got my dad. He was here and he was telling me that I always ask people what I should do and that I should stop asking because I know the answer. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't know the answer, right? So I was doing this thing over the weekend with ChatGPT, and it was for this program where I had to come up with all these vision statements and blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to ChatGPT like it was a person, I feel a lot of pressure and I don't like people who are confident and all this stuff. Well, anyway, ChatGPT says, what are you good at? So I said, I'm good at listening to people, letting them be their real selves. That's, getting real and letting them say whatever and not judging. And ChatGPT was like, well, that's who you are. When you're yourself, you have peace and ease. That's what I'm always after, peace and ease, when I'm just myself. And I was like, oh my God. So that was why when my boss came in and said to me, I was telling Barbra before the interview, I was having thoughts about my career, and he says, what's up with you? And normally I just go like, I'm fine. What are you talking about? But this time I was honest and I was my real self. And through that, we came up with a whole, option that we may or may not do. But I just felt so free being able to be myself. And so that was what my dad
telling
said,
Yeah,
but I was like, I don't know, So anyway, it took ChatGPT. But the other thing that I was thinking was last night, I don't normally dream about my dad, but I dreamt about my dad, that he was still alive and he was in this place. And I think his sisters, who are also dead, were there. And he was like, don't bring your mother. He didn't want to see my mother. But he was like, no, we're here, but we're okay. We don't need you to visit us. It was very interesting, right?
Yes.
And I forgot I was meeting you today. I was like, what was that about? Well,
everything
he's
happens.
Okay, and he doesn't need us to worry about him.
Exactly. So yeah, worry about yourself.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about yourself. Just live your most authentic life and be who you are. And people, if they are, resonate with them, great. If they don't like you and think you this or that, you don't need them in your life. Get rid of them. So
Right.
just be
Well,
who you are. And I'm
yeah,
so
and
glad that his message resonated. And you
yeah, and there was another one that came on the heels of it, which was that when I forget the verb, but when other people have expectations, like at work, you need to do this and this and this, I do them. And the message was, stop doing that. Fulfill your own expectations. And I was
right.
like,
Don't be like a doormat. Don't just do what everyone else wants. What
yeah,
about
well, I always think, well, I'm a team
yourself?
player. Yeah, I'm a team player and I have to look good and I have to cover up that my results are bad by being that. But that's not fulfilling. It's
Right.
not, it doesn't,
Sustainable, it's
yeah,
first
just
month.
like, so anyway, so that was another thing that came on the heels of that. And, so anyway, so thank you for that. It was
Well,
if
thank
you
you.
want to have a session with Barbara, I didn't realize we were, because I've had other kinds of sessions. I didn't realize we were calling in someone. So when you asked, who do you want? I was like, ooh, I guess my dad. But I'll say this for the audience. If you want to speak to someone who has passed away, get in touch with Barbara and she can do it. At the beginning, remember, it was like, well, this doesn't make sense. Why is he typing? You said you don't remember. He was typing on a typewriter, which made no sense. And he was wearing these moleskin shoes. It's like, what? And he was smoking. And I was like, that's not him. But anyway, we figured out by the end the typing was for me because he wasn't alive when I published my book.
When they talk, it's either about themselves or letting you know they know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, so I published 3 books since he passed away. And we did make the moccasins when he was with the Indian guides with my brothers. We all made them. It was really fun.
They bring memories so that you know it's them, and through different times in your life as well. It's not linear.
But I didn't understand the smoking because apparently maybe he did it in the service for a little while, but I don't know why that would have been brought up. But
sometimes they bring up smoking if at the end of their life they have problems with breathing.
Oh.
I don't remember how he passed or what
he had. Well, from all the chemo from the cancer, he ended up filling up with water, the heart. What is that?
And the lungs too?
Congestive heart failure as a result of the chemo.
Okay.
So does that make you not be able to breathe? I don't know.
I believe it goes into your lungs. But anyway, I don't remember. But whatever it was, he probably, you were going to check with someone if he smoked at some point in his life.
Yeah, my mother doesn't remember, but my sister said she thinks he might have in the service.
I'm sure he did. And they just give us things that you can check out later.
Yeah.
So to let you know that there's some things you don't know about them.
Right.
And it's the perfect time to tell you. I smoked at one point.
Yeah. Maybe.
You smoke? No.
So anyway, so the point is, if you want to get in touch with those on the other side, definitely contact Barbara and we will have the information in the notes for how to do that. So, all right. So what else? We have a minute and a half before the commercial.
I have another funny one. I had a woman who comes every year to bring her husband. And she said, I haven't felt him in 6 months. You always tell me he's here. I don't feel him. And she was so depressed. And she said, if he's really here, you'll know what TV show I watched over the pandemic. And I thought to myself, I'm going to pull that one out. But her husband was with me. And he said, it's Outlander. And I told her, and she said, that's the show. I was as surprised as she was. I could have fallen off the chair with her. But she said, do you have any idea how much? Because she said, I thought he might have had a new girlfriend up there that he hasn't been here for 6 weeks. I didn't want people in agony. She said, you have no idea how comforting that makes me because I know he's here and he was watching it with me. And he doesn't, I don't have to feel him to know in my soul and my heart that he's around me, taking care of me and watching for me and helping me. So I always say spirit gives you what you want and what you need to know, not what you want to know, because people sometimes want to know what their nickname was from him. And they usually don't give me that.
Wow. All right. So let's go to our commercial break. And then I do have a question, which we can answer after. How do people find you? But we will get to that after a word from our sponsors. Be right back. Hey everyone, it's Hilary, and if you followed Getting Real with Hilary, you know I believe we heal by telling the truth, asking better questions, and choosing courage over chaos. That's why I'm excited to share a book that does all of that. It's called Reviving Our Republic, written by Navy veteran Mike Biedenbaugh. This isn't just another political book. It's a hopeful, grounded blueprint that shows exactly how we repair our institutions, restore our constitutional balance, and rebuild a culture where citizens lead again. If you're ready to get real about America's future and what role you can play, go to revivingourrepublic.com and get your copy today. Hey, it's Hilary from the Getting Real with Hilary show. Life can be messy, raw, and real. And sometimes we're afraid to feel vulnerable. We're afraid to be that real self. Well, that's exactly what the Getting Real with Hilary show and Getting Real movement is all about, being our true selves. Every week, I bring you stories of transformation, authenticity, and hope. People getting real with their struggles, their faith, and their breakthroughs. So don't miss a thing. Subscribe to my weekly newsletter today. You'll get stories, links to everything new, and how to create a life you love every week, directly to your inbox. You can also find my books on Amazon. My courageous and riveting memoir, The Second Piece of French Toast, in case you feel stuck in your life and want to get inspired. How I came out about my no sex life in my marriage, in my second book, Real Talk. That one will get you speaking up in ways you've been too afraid to do so, and really creating amazing freedom. And my third book, How to Stop Fixing Yourself and Start Having Fun, the name is called Your Bullshit is Your Blessing. Find links to everything and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Getting Real with Hilary, and you'll find the links in the header. So, visit, and you can also visit gettingrealwithhilary.com, because the real you is worth it and wants to come out. Hey friends, it's Hilary, host of the Getting Real with Hilary show, and I want to get real with you for a moment about something we don't talk about enough: brain health and immune health as we age. I recently learned about daily brain care from Dr. John E. Lewis, and what stood out to me is that this isn't hype. It's science-backed and clinically proven. Daily brain care supports cognitive function and memory, reduces inflammation, balances the immune system, and even helps increase adult stem cell production, which plays a key role in how our bodies repair and regenerate. When your immune system is balanced, your whole body works better. You handle stress better, you feel healthier, and you function more like your younger self. If you're serious about taking care of your brain and your body, check out Daily Brain Care at drlewisnutrition.com. And thank you, as always, to our sponsors for making our show possible. And also, if you've been seeing the banners go by underneath the show, those are also our sponsors. And some of them are from a while ago, but they're all great. If you have any interest in them, and you can, if you can't find them, let me know, and we will get you in touch with them. They're all great, and we really do appreciate their support and are very grateful for it. And now we will bring back Barbra. Hello. So how do people find you, but how did they find you when you first started out? How do people know?
Well, I did put up a website, but that doesn't mean people come and do that. I did go to be certified by Helping Parents Heal.
Okay.
And they, it's an international organization. So I get many bookings through people who go through their different certified mediums so that they know they're not going to a quack or somebody that's not been thoroughly tested. It's an excruciating process, but and I'm glad that I'm there. And then word of mouth. And, I'm on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, but it's mostly word of mouth. My website is bannermedium.com, BANNER medium.com. It's very simple. And it has links to my social media, and it has I have lots of little snippets of fun things that happen in my sessions. And testimonials, and you can book through that as well. So it's like one-stop shopping. And I don't have a book to sell you, so it's just the experience of bringing someone through that you love and miss terribly.
And they can book there?
Yes, they can book. Yeah, there's a booking page that you.
So what would you be on TikTok? Barbra, Banner Medium?
I think I'm Banner Medium on TikTok and Instagram, and I think I'm Barbra.Banner on Facebook. But it's all on at the bottom of the first page on my website. You could just click on the TikTok, click on that, and Facebook takes you right to me.
All right, great. All right, what else do you have for us?
Well, if somebody's not aware, or if a lot of times in deep grief, it's hard for spirit to get through. It's like mud to slog through. As a medium, we learn to raise our vibration, and spirit learns to lower theirs, so we can meet in the middle and communicate. And sometimes when you're really just inconsolable, it's hard for spirit to get through. And you miss things. So I will tell you one of my funnier readings. This woman lost a son who was in his 20s. And I said, okay, I don't want to know what the question is, so can you just ask him telepathically? I don't like my head getting involved. If I don't know the question, my head can't get involved. It's just going to be spirit and 100%. So I said, well, I don't know what the question is, but your son is showing me he's squished into a giant jar. His whole body is squished into a giant jar, like something you would see in Frankenstein's
laboratory.
Laboratory. I said, do you have any idea what he's talking about? She said, not at all. That's ridiculous. I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, tell me what the question is, okay? Because a lot of people say no, and then they tell me the question, and it is so clear that they gave the exact answer. This is one of those situations. So she said, I asked, because my husband and I just went to a concert of my son's favorite band, but he didn't live long enough to see it. So we took a jar of his cremation ashes to the event to sprinkle them around.
Oh my God.
Wanted to know, if he was there. I said, hold on. I said, you don't see that he was showing himself in a jar, and you bringing an actual jar of him to this place, that he was there. He's letting you know he knows you did that, and he was there. And she said, oh, now I get it. Oh, so he was there. But it went right over her head.
That's so funny.
And that can happen when spirit is coming to give you messages and you poo-poo it or just believe it's their imagination. I told a woman, I said, your son is showing me that he's, that you've got, one of his signs for you are butterflies. And I said, have there been any do you have any butterfly sightings? That, they're from your son. She goes, well, there was some butterflies, hanging around me this week. And one of them went around me. And I said, since I told you butterflies, you didn't even think that could be just a little hello from your son? She said, I thought about it and I said, oh, it must be butterfly migration season. Okay, so she made up this whole cockamamie thing to rationalize something, and she missed out on such a beautiful when he was like going around her head. So you have to be aware. And, during grief, it's got to go through the flow. You got to go through the process. I understand that. But a lot of people just don't get all of the signs that they're giving to them. I told a lady, well, your father said, stop walking over the coin and pick it up. And she said, wow. She said, last night I was at the casino and I looked down and there was a penny and I just walked over it. And for a millisecond, I thought, wow, maybe that's from somebody. And she just said, I can't believe I know. Now I know. So he was there because he knows I walked over a coin. And I tell people now, if you get a coin, it'll usually be where you're not expecting it. Okay. And pick it up and keep it. But always look at the year.
Oh.
And somebody who had been collecting coins and never looked, she goes, the other day I just found a coin, a quarter. And I said to myself, Barbra said, look at the year, because when we had our reading, we had her grandfather. She picks up the quarter and looks at it, and it's the year he passed. So she said, I knew it was from my grandfather, and it was so touching for her. I'm getting goosebumps already. So yes, there are signs, they're so easy to say, what are the signs of spirit? There's some that are just very easy for them to do. It's very easy for them to get into a butterfly or a ladybug or a dragonfly and sort of take over because they have very simple neurological systems. Not much to maneuver. You don't have to take a lesson in flying. And feathers are very easy for them to float down by you, and pick those up as well and get a jar.
How would they do a coin? How would they do a coin?
They can do so much more than we understand. Okay. They can put things in our head. They can do coins. They learn how to manipulate energy. And, coins are made of atoms and molecules and everything. They can do it.
So if I had a ladybug that was in my room a little while ago, and I don't know how it got there, but it kept showing up. I mean, let's say that was
hold on. Let me take my little, let's see who it might have been, because now we had your father when he was there. Okay. And you didn't know how it got in. So it was.
I've never seen one in my room. No.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to use my little pendulum, and I'm going to say, was this ladybug your father? And when it goes in a clockwise, it's a yes. And my hand was not moving. So that was your dad.
I shouldn't have killed it.
Oh my God.
I don't think. I think I tried to get it outside, but I didn't know if I.
Okay.
I mean, what should you do when you see something like that? If
just say, "Hi, Dad."
Okay.
Hi, Dad. And if you want to open the door, I mean, If it's a tarantula, okay, kill it. All right. I wouldn't keep that around to have a little, powwow with either. But if it's like a butterfly, or butterflies are easy. And if things like that,
he used to, well, I'm saying when my daughter used to be at my parents' house after he died, there was a dragonfly that used to just come and sit on, rest on her arm.
That's for sure. Okay. If they come, I had a woman whose daughter had passed, and she was physically and mentally challenged at birth and never could talk and converse with her. So our first meeting, they were talking back and forth, like it was amazing. And then I had her again, and I said, you know what? I'm seeing she's putting a butterfly in my head. And they really hadn't had that. And she said, it's snowing outside. It's all full of snow. There's not going to be a butterfly. Well, 2 days later, she said the sun had popped out, and she went outside to sit in a chair and just put her face in the sun. And she said a single butterfly came and landed on her heart and didn't move and sat there for 10 minutes and then flew off. Wow. In the snow. It's crazy. They had, because they're all energy on the other side, and energy, you can't kill energy.
When you see a sign like that, like I've seen a feather come down the sky, you just say hi. You just know that they're there.
Yeah, you should be talking to your loved ones anyway. And you don't even have to speak aloud. They read your mind. Okay. They're telepathic. So you should get up in the morning and say, hi, Dad, I love you. Come with me on errands today. And they'll be there. They're around you anyway. And the more you believe, the more you will receive. Okay. And it's really, I think, is that simple. It's not seeing is believing like we grew up with. Seeing is believing. I don't really believe. If you believe, then you're open to receiving. So
I know what I was going to ask you. When someone's in grief, and so they have sadness, so they're a low vibration. What I had heard, I don't know where, but and I think you were saying it, is that they can't visit, they can't be visited because their vibration's too low.
Listen, they can, depending on spirit and everything else, but it makes it so much harder for spirit to get through that low vibration. And it makes it so much harder for that person, the client, to feel them as well. It's like you have to open the pathway for the best. If you have a little tiny hole, it's really hard, to stick a big nail in it. You need to open the pathway, and then more things are evident to you, and more messages can get through.
And how would someone who's grieving open that up?
Well, let me start with, we all come to this earth to learn lessons, to work off karma. And we all have a soul plan before we come down. We pick our parents, okay? When you're on the other side, what the challenges are, whether you're going to say, I want an abusive husband so I can earn, 50 points. Anything that's challenging is a bigger lesson. And we have certain amount of lessons to learn before we're done, where we don't have to come back and experience that, even though most people want to come back and keep getting new experiences. But it's to increase, to help our soul evolve for when we're on the other side. And the bigger and harder it is down here, the more they work off of what they need to do and know. So that's why there's, I believe, people take their lives, because they want so much. And also coming to Earth. Earth is the hellhole of the universe for doing this. It's really, really difficult. Other planets, you go there and it's, party time. And here's a little thing I learned. And it's nothing like this, supposedly. That when you come back home, which is heaven, you get like a ticker tape parade. It's like you are awesome and brave, because it really is the worst.
So somebody's here and someone passed away, especially a child, I can't imagine, but
if you understand in your heart and believe that we pick these situations, even though we have free will, we can change things. We pick them because we need to learn the lesson it's going to give us. And as much as you cannot understand what kind of lesson am I supposed to learn from my 6-year-old child passing, it's unfathomable. But I say, when you get to the other side, you will know everything you did and how it helped you. The universe isn't doing things to you. They're doing things for you.
So I had heard, again, I can't remember where, that, so a 6-year-old who's going to pass, they sign up for that.
Yeah.
When they come to Earth, they know they're going to have a short life and they come.
Absolutely.
And it can be the lesson for the parents. It's not necessarily
Absolutely. You've got it. Somebody offered, I'll do it. It's just 6 years, which in that time, it's like a millisecond.
Yeah.
And they do things for each other to learn lessons. We sort of travel in soul pods, and, we can change genders and everything else. But yes, they're here and they do their job, which is to teach them a lesson about their strength, whatever it is, but it's necessary. And if somebody doesn't learn their lesson in this lifetime, next time they come back, they have to take that class again. And some people come back 10 times until they get the lesson right.
Oh gosh.
Maybe somebody's selfish for like 7 lifetimes and they don't care about anybody else. They are going to be taking that lesson over and over again until they finally say, I really want to do something that's of service to others. I don't really need this. I'm going to donate that, or whatever it is, until they figure it out.
Wow. All right. Well, believe it or not, we're at the end. What would you like to say in closing? How would you like to leave the earth, or have it change in 5 years? Or
well, it's changing anyway. And a lot of people, this is the year that it really opened up for so many people. And last year, 25, and this year, even more. And when the ETs are walking down the street, in 27, everyone's going to believe, and they're going to understand we are all the same. We are all just one. We are just the same. We're all here for the same purpose, is to learn lessons and to have our soul evolve. It's that simple. So be nice to everybody, because maybe this life they're digging ditches in Venezuela. I don't know. But for the grace of God, you're driving around in your Mercedes and you're having a good time. So just be nice to everybody, because we all have to go through it.
All right. Thank you. And we may put in an excerpt from my reading. Not sure yet, but just in case we do, stay tuned and you'll see a part of our reading. The one I had with Barbra. Don't judge me. She said I look terrible. So just let's let that go. All right. But thank you so much.
You clean up good. Okay. And we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much.
Us.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode. I started getting real with Hilary when I discovered that I was a people-pleasing, pleasant phony and wanted to be more of my real self. We can grow together if you will like the show, subscribe to my channel, and share this episode with your friends and family so that we can have a world that's more real.